This is a bill that is originating from the National Assembly and co-sponsored by the Senate Majority Leader. Debate on this bill already kicked off on the floor of the House. And this afternoon, debate on it is set to resume. It was interrupted on Thursday of 9th May, the year 2024. And this afternoon, members who have not gotten an opportunity to give their input into the contents of this bill will have a chance to do that. That is the Deputy Speaker of the Senate, Honorable Kathuri Murungi, walking into the chambers. I'd like to hand you over to this live broadcast brought to you by PBU in partnership with PC.
Mwenyezi Mungu, twakusifu tutazame kwa neema nyingi na baraka zako ambao umeridhika kutuita kwa nyadhifa za uongozi katika jamhuri hii yetu. Kuomba utujalie tuyatende na kufikiria mambo yote yakatufikishwa mbele yetu kwa njia ya haki na uaminifu ili kustawisha amani, ufanisi na heri ya nchi yetu na wale ambao wazazi umezikabidhi mikononi mwetu. Amina. Clerk on column not be able to link there about 10 minutes.
Provided for the House turning 9 and 40 that are the business be 15 the chambers the lead and the that quorum the quorum of 10 this to give room to the of the Senate precincts of Parliament make their way to the chambers to do just that. As you can see, a few members, or rather just a few members, are in the chambers. They are not yet 15. But that bell should be able to alert them that their presence is highly required inside the chambers. And as the bell is on, then we will be seeing the members getting into the chambers. Once that number is achieved, I will directly hand you over to these live proceedings. But back to the business onto which the members of the Senate will be transacting this afternoon. As indicated earlier, is that 3 bills on their second reading stage, at which debate had already started. The meteorological bill, Senate Bill number 45 of 2023, debate on it is concluded, and this afternoon there will be division on whether the bill be read for the second time. That is the Senator for Mombasa County, Mohamed Faki, has walked in. The Houses of Parliament bicameral relations bill. This is a bill that is originating from the National Assembly, Bill number 44 of 2023 and co-sponsored by the Senate Majority Leader. On this bill, a debate has been on the floor of the House. That is Vihiga Senator and Embu Senator there walking in. Debate on this bill has been on the floor of the House, rather that is Kitui Senate, I beg your pardon. So the debate on the Houses of Parliament bicameral relations bill, a bill originating from the National Assembly, has been on the floor of the House, but was interrupted on the Thursday of 9th May, the year 2024. And this afternoon it is set to have that debate resume with the members who may have not been able to give in their views and opinions on the contents of the bill to get a chance to do that. This is a bill that seeks to provide for a framework for determining the nature of a bill. Remember, bills at the Parliament originate from either the National Assembly or the Senate, being a bicameral house. And this bill includes to provide a framework for determining the nature of a bill, defines the bill that are considered only by the National Assembly, defines bills that are bills not concerning county governments, and also defines bills concerning the county governments. Also outlines matters relating to publication and the enacting formula for bills and acts of parliament so as to standardize the practice between the houses. These matters were previously expressly provided for in the Constitution that is before the 2010. The bill also provides for the publication of bills originating from either House of Parliament. This is either the Senate or the National Assembly. The enacting formula and imposes timelines for such publication to cure scenarios where the government printer at times delays in the printing of a bill request. So these are some of the contents of the bill in the clauses, and the members will resume debate on it as indicated in the order of business to be transacted in today's afternoon sitting. The Public Transport Motorcycle Regulation Bill, this is a bill that is originating from the Senate, Bill number 38 of 2023. This is a bill by the Kakamega Senator, Honorable Dr. Boni Halwale. Also, debate on this bill already started at the chambers this afternoon. Business will be a resumption of that bill or of that debate that was interrupted on Thursday of 16th, the month of May, the year 2024. And this bill seeks to put in place a legal framework to regulate the use of motorcycles, commonly referred to as border borders, in Kenya by introducing new provisions for their registration, operation, and safety at the county level. This bill provides for the establishment, composition, and functions of the County Motorcycle Transport and Safety Board in every county. Also, the responsible or also provides that the board shall be responsible for the regulation, management, and coordination of all matters relating to the border transport sector within the county. This bill also, or the contents of this bill also indicate that a person shall not operate a border unless they have successfully completed a training course approved by the board. The contents of that particular course that will be approved by the board include safe and defensive riding techniques, traffic laws and regulations, customer care and etiquette, handling of emergency situations, basic motorcycle maintenance, and security awareness. There is a clause also that provides for the responsibilities of the owner, the rider, and the passenger of a border. That bill will have its debate resume this afternoon as indicated in the order of business for the members of the Senate this afternoon. Pursuant to the House Standing Order number 53, 53-1, this provides for senators' request for statements. The statements these are statements for a committee, and the issues that may be addressed in the statements could relate to any matter under.
Have quorum now. Clerk, call the first order.
Order number 1, administration of oath.
Next order.
Order number 2, communication from the chair.
Honorable Senators, I have a communication to make on the communication number 21 of 2024 on the membership to the Mediation Committee on the Division of Revenue Bill, National Assembly Bills number 14 of 2024. Honorable Senators, as you may recall, at the sitting of the Senate held on Tuesday, 14th May 2024, I convened a message from the National Assembly that on Monday, 13th May 2024, the National Assembly, by resolution, rejected the Senate amendments to the Division of Revenue Bill, National Assembly Bills number 14 of 2024. Consequently, the bill was committed to a mediation committee in accordance with the provisions of Article 112(2)(b) of the Constitution. Senators, you can have your seats. In the message, the Speaker of the National Assembly appointed members of the National Assembly to the Mediation Committee to consider the bill in accordance with Article 113 of the Constitution. Honorable Senators, will recall that while conveying the message, I indicated that an appropriate time I would appoint senators to the Mediation Committee. Honorable Senators, pursuant to Article 113(1) of the Constitution and standing under 166(2) of the Senate, and in consultation with the majority and minority party leaders, I appointed the following senators to the Mediation Committee. 1, Senator Kaduri Muronge, MGH MP. 2, Senator Dr. Boni Kalwale, CBS MP. 3, Senator Fatuma Nduro, CBS MP. 4, Senator Jackson Mandago, NGH MP. 5, Senator Mohamed Chute, MP. 6, Senator Edwin Sifuna, MP. 7, Senator Moses Kajwang, MP. 8, Senator Agnes Kavidu Mudhama, MP. And last but not the least, 9, Senator Andy Okech, MP. Vindileta reference SCN/L and P/MC 2024-03, dated 16 May 2024. The aforementioned names were communicated to the National Assembly. The Mediation Committee may therefore begin its work. I thank you. Next order. Honorable Senators, I will just 2-3 comments, starting with the Deputy Minority Leader, Senator Wambua Kio. Is it Kio or Kio?
It's Kio, Mr. Speaker. Kio. And I thank you, Mr. Speaker, for indulging us to just make brief comments on, which is really just a procedural communication from the chair. Mr. Speaker, the names as read by the chair, the members that have been appointed to this mediation committee, I think the Senate has put its best foot forward. We have nominated, in fact, when you look at that list from number 1 to number 5, they are all titled leaders. The Speaker, the expectation of this House, as we release this team to go and mediate, is that they should go with a firm position, not an inch more, not an inch less. Because, as a Speaker, the amount of money that this Senate has passed to go to the counties, it's an amount that has been arrived at scientifically. It's not guesswork. We are taking care of very basic but important aspects in the counties. We are taking care of inflation. We are taking care of statutory deductions. We are taking care of non-discretionary decisions that have been made by the national government that will have an effect on the spending of the counties. Mr. Speaker, we expect this team, and I'm happy that Senator Madago is part of that team. He was in the counties. We expect that this team would deliver 415 billion Kenya shillings to the counties. As Speaker, I wish this team all the best, and I'm very sure that devolution will be better served. I thank you.
Senator Modigi Alexander. Just 2 minutes comment is good
Bwana
enough.
Speaker,
2 minutes kindly.
mimi nikiwa Senator wa Embu County naunga mkono kamati ambaye imetengenezwa ambaye ya kutoka kwa walio wengi na walio wachache, na wameunda kamati ambaye ni watu ambaye wako na ushujaa, ni watu wameelemika vizuri, na ni watu wameona ile matatizo imekuwa na kaunti zetu, kaunti 46 na 7. Sio kumaanisha wale wengine hawezi fanya kazi, kwa sababu najua tuko seneta 67, lakini ile kamati imewekwa pale ni ya seneta wa Meru Kadhuri na seneta rafiki wangu Kajwang na seneta ambayo wa Nairobi na seneta wengine wale wako na usunja. Ningeomba muende msungumuze na mtuletee matunda, kwa sababu mnajua kaunti zetu zote 47 mambo ya devolution imeleta shinda, kwa sababu kaunti nyingi kama kaunti ya Embu County ile pesa inaenda kaunti ni kidogo, na ile budget ambaye magavana wataka pesa nyingi, kwa sababu mnajua agenda yetu tukiwa maseneta ni mambo ya kupeleka mambo ya devolution kule masinani, mambo ya elimu, mambo ya kilimo. Pia hao watu wetu wanataka maji hata ya irrigation, na iko na mambo mengi, na tunajua magavana waliochaguliwa wakati wa hii kipindi ya serikali ya Kenya Kwanza ni wako na ujuzi wa kusaidia mwananchi mpaka masinani. Na tena Mr. Kajwang Senator, mkienda muambie watu wajue zile pesa tunataka iende masinani ni ile mwananchi amelipa usuru, ni ile mwananchi amelima, ni ile mwananchi ametafuta na njazo kubwa. Kwa hivyo ningeomba muende muongee na wale, ndio tuweze kuona kaunti zetu watapata pesa namna gani ndio waweze kusaidia mwananchi. Mimi ni Senator wa Embu County, asante, naunga mkono hiyo kamati na mfanye mtuletee ripoti mzuri. Ni mimi Daktari Alexander Mondigi. Asante.
Asante Senator wa Embu. Senator Manzo Daniel.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for your communication and for appointment of very able senators to go to the mediation. Mr. Speaker, Senate is here to defend devolution. At the moment we make a proposal for monies to go to the counties, it is not upon the National Assembly to say that money can be scooped, from CDF. The money for CDF is fixed by the Constitution and cannot be touched. All we are asking is for sufficient monies to be added and sent to the counties. Mr. Speaker, there are many county functions which have still been stuck to the nation, and we really want health to be fully devolved, agriculture to be fully devolved, and in fact, recently there are some markets allegedly be built in the counties by the national government. Mr. Speaker, it puts the counties in a very difficult position that these markets have to be designed from Nairobi, but the land they are going to be planted belongs to the counties, and the counties, it's as if they have no role. Mr. Speaker, we want the counties to take their rightful place to take development to the people and at the grassroots. And therefore, these monies, I am urging that particular team, there is no budging, there is no going back. They have to make sure this money goes for devolution. And in fact, Mr. Speaker, we have not yet met the constitutional threshold. And therefore, there must be sufficient monies to make sure that devolution works, it functions, and that the counties get their rightful share so that they can develop. Most of what has been going to counties, Mr. Speaker, are just expenses and very little money for development. It is a high time this Senate insisted money for development to go to the counties, and I believe it will happen, Mr. Speaker, and it is our rightful and constitutional expectation and duty to make sure devolution is achieved through sending more money to the counties. Mr. Speaker, I support and I thank you.
Senator William Cheptumo.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I want to agree with my colleagues who have spoken before me. Mr. Speaker, the membership whom you have read their names, I have no doubt in my mind, Mr. Speaker, that they have the capacity to match the team from the other side, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, when the debate on this bill was done in the National Assembly, I had a moment to listen to the discussions in the National Assembly. And Mr. Speaker, I want to tell the team that there is a very serious concerted effort to mislead the country that governors don't deserve more money. And the reason, Mr. Speaker, and I know my colleagues were able to listen, is because they claim that there is corruption. I don't deny, Mr. Speaker, there's no corruption in our counties. That is true. But the solution of that particular vice of corruption is not to deny the county governments the money. It is to put in place measures to deal with the corruption. So, Mr. Speaker, there is a very serious attempt in the other house to ensure. Number two, Mr. Speaker, in the entire debate, they only spoke about two things. That if you increase the money for counties, you will be reducing CDF. And when you reduce the money for counties, increase the money for counties, you reduce the money for the women reps. Mr. Speaker, that is a very narrow argument, because the argument here is the budget allocation. So I want to call upon my colleagues who will be representatives in that house, in that mediation committee, Mr. Speaker, that it is not about CDF. It's not about the GAF. It is about money. And Mr. Speaker, it is not really
Maybe 1 minute.
Mr. Speaker, I've been away for long.
You have been away for long, so
I've been away.
maybe let me compensate you with at least.
I've been indisposed for some time, but I thank God I'm back now. So, Mr. Speaker, it's a constitutional requirement. And Mr. Speaker, in 2010, when I was serving as the Deputy Minister for Justice, there was a serious cry to have county governments, so that, Mr. Speaker, we are able to take our resources back there. Let us not kill that particular very important principle. So, Mr. Speaker, I support it. Thank you.
Senator Koiti Andrew Omtata.
Mr. Speaker, sir, I thank you for the opportunity to contribute to this important issue. I listened to the list you have read out, and I have my total confidence in them, 100%, that they are going to represent the true position of the Senate on the question of funds going to the counties. Our counties are underfunded, irrespective of how their money is being used. The counties are underfunded, many services cannot be provided, and we need more funds to go down to the counties. And as I have observed before, even the revenue, the calculation of the revenue has been manipulated to leave out a very big chunk of national government revenue. So the 15% we are talking of, at least 15%, is not even pegged on the true picture of the revenue raised nationally. It's revenue which it's a revenue that the National Assembly decided should be the revenue to go to the counties. So, Mr. Speaker, sir, I am very happy I've chosen a team that I've got no doubt will not blink. And there's no room for blinking. We cannot blink This is a case whereby if they don't want to give us the money for the counties, then let the budget sink. The time when we are taken for a ride are over. Those times are over, and we must get the counties getting at least the very minimum they require to survive. The figures we have were arrived at through a study. They are not random, and they cannot be randomly varied. Let the counties have their cake. As to what they do with the cake, that's the work of the Senate. We go down there and make sure that the money is used according to the law. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
There is a lot of interest on this matter. I'm afraid I might stop this at some point. Let's hear Senator Joe Newton.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity. I think I also want, first of all, to congratulate the members that have been named by the Speaker of this Honorable House to go to the mediation talks, Mr. Speaker. And like everybody else has said before me, these are members whose capacity and commitment cannot be doubted by anybody, Mr. Speaker. One thing I would want to ask our colleagues in the committee to carry with them, Mr. Speaker, is to go and let the members of the National Assembly understand that we do not have any fight between counties and constituencies, Mr. Speaker, because money going to the counties, Mr. Speaker, is also money that is going to go to the constituencies which these members of the National Assembly serve. So, Mr. Speaker, I think we need to impress upon the members of the National Assembly that there is no hostility that should be entertained between counties and constituencies. And so, when they are looking at the monies that are going to be sent to the counties, Mr. Speaker, they should be friendly in so doing. Mr. Speaker, I have had many members of the National Assembly complaining in their counties, in their constituencies, of inadequate health facilities and medical care, Mr. Speaker. And if this is a concern that they have for their constituents, Mr. Speaker, I think the only way to address such a problem, because the biggest responsibility of counties, Mr. Speaker, is health, I think it would then be to give in to our request or to admit our request for 415 billion, Mr. Speaker, so that our health facilities may be sorted, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, when these members go to the negotiation table, because there is that reason that was given by the members of the National Assembly that
you know, once you get an opportunity, you should be able to engage what you can do in 2 minutes. Therefore, I think the message was very clear, and the team has been advised accordingly. Senator Sosi?
Mr. Speaker, I want to congratulate the members who have been appointed to sit on the mediation committee, and to say that the task ahead is a very, very important task in as far as Article 96 of the Constitution is concerned. Mr. Speaker, I think the National Assembly members, where I used to serve with you, must understand that the most progressive thing that happened to this country since independence is a proclamation of the new constitution that provided for devolution, because there is an attempt to fight devolution. And it is unfortunate that the National Assembly is a house that is being used to fight devolution. I listened to the deliberation of the National Assembly on this matter, and I think in the mediation committee meeting, the first agenda should be that the majority leader and the chair of budget must give an apology, because they gave an impression that we as the senators were going to deduct money from CDF and money for roads, which was not the case. We are not talking about budget, the actual budget process. We are simply talking about division of revenue between the national government and the county government. So, Mr. Speaker, even as we talk about that, we need also to talk about the bigger issue here. On this order paper today, Mr. Speaker, there is order paper, there is order number 9, which is talking about bicameral relations between the two houses. And this bill, Mr. Speaker, this bill is unconstitutional. And I wonder why we are rushing us through.
Can you reserve your energy maybe until we get to the order number 9? You know, Senator Tabitha Kerochi is conspicuously sitting on the majority leader's seat today. Is it like you are temporary majority leader or what is it? 2 minutes for you. Honorable Senators, whenever you get time this afternoon, you can be able to make your comment on that matter. So let us make some progress.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. It is true, I'm now the temporary majority leader for the 1 week. My boss is in US, so anything that you want to report about the majority leader's office, this is the office now you should report to. And you should clap me for that. And I want to take this as an opportunity to congratulate the Speaker for the appointment of this mediation committee on the division of revenue bill. I think the people, the lovely people of Kenya that elected us and brought us to, and sent us to this house, which is an upper house, one of the assignment was to ensure that we fight for more revenue and send it to our counties. So I know the team that has been elected has what it takes so that we can achieve one of the assignment that we've been sent to do in this house, to ensure that we fight for more revenue and send it to our counties. I think the other part is to ensure that money is, we as the senators, it's used for development to our counties and ensure that our governors use this money for the development of our counties so that our people can benefit across Kenya. Because the counties rely on the CEO that has been appointed to represent the county, and that is the governor. So the next person who is there should do the oversight to ensure that money is utilized well, to ensure that it benefits our people. It is us, the senators. So let's do our work, and I'm sure the people that send us here will celebrate to know that they put the right people in this house. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Let's go to the next order.
Order number 3, messages.
Next order.
Order number 4, petitions.
Next order.
Order number 5, papers.
There's the majority leader. The majority. You are the principal assistant of the leader of the majority party.
Mr. Speaker, sir, I beg to lay the following paper on the table of the Senate today, 21st May 2024. Report of the Auditor General on financial statements of Embu Water and Sanitation Company Limited for the year ended 30th June 2023. The Senate Majority Leader.
Chairperson, Standing Committee on Trade. Or Vice Chair or a member. Chair, Justice, Legal Affairs and Human Rights. You have some papers today.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I beg to lay the following paper on the table of the Senate today, 21st May 2024. 1. Report of the Standing Committee on Justice, Legal Affairs and Human Rights on its consideration of the Statutory Instruments Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bills number 2 of 2023. 2. Report of the Standing Committee on Justice, Legal Affairs and Human Rights on its consideration of the Constitutional of Kenya Amendment Bill, number 2, Bill Senate number 52 of 2023. 3. Report of the Standing Committee on Justice, Legal Affairs and Human Rights on its consideration of the Statutory Instruments Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bills number 3 of 2024. And 4. Report of the Standing Committee on Justice, Legal Affairs and Human Rights on its consideration of the Statutory Instruments Amendment Bill, Senate Bills number 10 of 2024. I thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I beg to lay.
Thank you, Chair. Let us have the majority lead again on today the people on trade, industrialization and tourism.
Mr. Speaker, sir, I beg to lay the following paper on the table of the Senate today, 21st May 2024. Report of the Standing Committee on Trade, Industrialization and Tourism on its consideration of the Cooperative Societies Amendment Bill, Senate Bills number 53 of 2023. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. Next order.
Order number 6, notices of motion.
Next order.
Order number 7, questions and statements.
We have a statement and standing order 53-1. Senator for Kirinyaga County, Senator James Murango. Actually, he has two statements. One to the Standing Committee on Devolution and Intergovernmental Relations. The other one to the Standing Committee on Justice, Legal Affairs and Human Rights. So those two statements are dropped. Next order. Because I'm following the order paper, those were the only two registered statements by the Senator for Kirinyaga. Clerk. Who was the statement on the International Tea Day? Any other statement will be read tomorrow because they must be scheduled. Okay. Who was the statement on International Tea Day? Is it Senator Chalgei? Senator Kisang, can you read your statement very fast? Yeah, where is your statement? Okay, proceed, Senator Chute.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. This is a request for a statement on payment made by the Marsabit County government to various suppliers for the financial year 2021, 2022, 2023. Mr. Speaker, sir, I rise pursuant to Standing Order 53-1 to seek a statement from the Standing Committee on Finance, and Budget regarding payments made by Marsabit County Government to various suppliers for the financial year 2021, 22, 23. In the statement, the committee should establish 1. The ownership of registration status of the following companies: Dream Zone Company Limited, Buku Holdings Limited, Kobe Constructions and Water Services Limited, Sowell Trading Company Limited, Almiran Investment Limited, North Face Investment, Bismil Limited, Knoxville Ventures Limited, Culture Taxi Services, Al Halim Kenya Limited, Nexus Development Limited, Bismal Enterprise, Kachacha Company Limited, Tulasagalan Limited, Blue Tick Solution Limited, and Kesa Sumu Tech Limited companies, which have been providing services to Marsabit County Government. Honorable Speaker, 2, state when Marsabit County Government started contractual engagements with the aforementioned companies, outlining the nature of services each company has rendered to the county, further verifying payments of approximately 1,13,480,731.95 made to these companies during the financial year 2022-2023. Number 3, identify the bank accounts held by the Marsabit County Government in KCB Bank and Equity Bank Limited, and furnish bank statements for the financial years 2021, 2022 to 2022, 2023 for the county government operations. 4, cause the Financial Reporting Center, FRC, the Asset Recovery Agency, AAR, and the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Authority to investigate any suspicious financial transactions conducted by Marsabit County Government pertaining to payments for goods and services, and hold to account persons responsible for misappropriating or pilferage of county funds. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Next order. Okay, so by revoking standing order 45-2, we defer order number 8. We have no numbers for the division. Then we go to order number 9. Clerk, order number 9. Oh, you have to go. Yes, now the statement. Okay, fine. Can you make the statement, Chalgay? And today you are not well organized.
No, I've been on the top of the mountain. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for your intelligence. Statement on an issue of general topical concern called International Tea Day. Mr. Speaker, sir, I rise pursuant to Standing Order 52-1 to make a statement on issue of general topical concern, namely celebration of International Tea Day. In 2005, Mr. Speaker, tea-producing countries, including Sri Lanka, Nepal, Kenya, Indonesia, Malaysia, and Uganda, came together to celebrate International Tea Day. Later in 2019, Mr. Speaker, the Intergovernmental Group on Tea decided to celebrate International Tea Day every day on May 21st. The United Nations accepted this celebration, and the first UN International Tea Day was celebrated on 21st May 2020. Mr. Speaker, sir, today, being 21st May 2024, we join the rest of the world in celebrating International Tea Day. We encourage Kenyans not only to produce tea, but also to be consumers of it. Besides its taste, tea has several health benefits, such as reducing the risk of heart attack and stroke, aiding in weight loss, protecting bones, preventing tooth decay and loss, boosting the immune system, soothing the digestive system, helping to battle cancer, and helping to relax the body. Mr. Speaker, sir, according to the latest data from the Food and Agricultural Organization, FAO, more than 7 million tons of tea are produced worldwide. Kenya is the third leading producer and the biggest exporter, and accounting for about 28% of the world's tea export. Mr. Speaker, sir, small-scale tea farming in Kenya accounts for about 65% of the total tea production in the country, with the rest being produced by multinationals. Over the years, the tea sector in Kenya has continued to be a major foreign exchange earner for over our country and has become a catalyst for the growth of rural area economies since post-independence. With the right political goodwill, and allow me, Mr. Speaker, from His Excellency the President and the Deputy President, and from the Kenya Kwanza government, which is fronting tea sectoral reforms, and we had a tea engagement and reform sector at Kericho last year that have started to take root. Smallholder farmers will see higher market dividends from this season. So, Speaker, sir, as we entrench these tea reforms, mostly targeting small-scale tea farmers and the local farmer, we recognize that the sector is one of the key drivers of Kenya's socio-economic development. It is a key pillar in economic growth and provides a direct source of livelihood to over 750,000 farmers and employs millions of people. Like, for example, in Nandi, out of 6 sub-counties, 4 grow tea, even including your county, Mr. Speaker. Some of the reforms already in place include the introduction of minimum market price under guarantee minimum reforms, the fertilizer subsidy initiative to farmers, an increase in monthly payments to farmers, timely payment of bonuses, and reduction of interest rate to farmers by financial institutions. Mr. Speaker, sir, in conclusion, with the increase in rainfall this year, we expect that the tea production, and it is worth to note, Mr. Speaker, that some of the tea factories are no longer picking tea, for example, in Bomet and many other counties, because the tea production is too much because of heavy rainfall and subsidized fertilizer by the government. Therefore, we call on the relevant authorities to ensure a steady market and price stability for our tea farmers. We want also to call to Kenyans, Mr. Speaker, to assure our tea farmers that we will support and assist in legislating, and you are aware there is a Tea Amendment Act in the floor of the House, on necessary reforms, Mr. Speaker, and ensure maximum production and better returns, Mr. Speaker. It is also a call to Kenyans, especially who take other hard drinks, to reduce the hard drinks like alcohol and consume more tea to ensure we improve on local consumption and protect our farmers. So, Mr. Speaker, I know there are a number of us who take other type of drinks, but I want to call upon Kenyans, let us drink tea in the morning, in the evening, Mr. Speaker, so that it becomes... Some of the issues you are now raising are not in your statement. No, Mr. Speaker, you know today is Tea International Day. So I request... in the statement as approved. Yes, Mr. Speaker, just in 30 seconds, since today is Tea International Day, people who take other drinks can today take tea, and we'll make progress as a country. I thank you for your indulgence, Mr. Speaker.
I want to give 2-3 senators to make a comment on this International Tea Day, especially the senator from Bomet County, Senator Sigei Wakiri.
I thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. And as we prepare to celebrate the International Day tomorrow in Nandi County, Mr. Speaker, we take pride as tea growing zones. Why? Because tea, Mr. Speaker, is one of the major foreign earner for this country. Where I come from, I do grow tea in 4 out of 5 sub-counties, and 90% of all cash crop, if I may call them, is actually from tea. And therefore, I support the statement by the Honorable Senator Cherargei, who is actually the host of this conference tomorrow. And I believe that this will go a long way in enhancing the reforms which have been running for a couple of years now. This began in the first attempt by the majority leader of this House when he set up the Tea Amendment Act 2020, which unfortunately, Mr. Speaker, got into challenges where people went to court to challenge various sections of that particular act. But fortunate enough, following the efforts which were picked up by the current administration, where it had identified agriculture as one of its 5 major items in its delivery to the people of Kenya, agriculture was picked up, and tea in its own way was a specific crop that has been given a lot of attention. And Mr. Speaker, as you are aware, I am also spearheading additional amendments to the 2020 Act. As we speak right now, all the parties that had filed various cases in court have agreed to a compromise. We have withdrawn all those cases, and we have reached a position where very many of the issues which had been raised towards the reforms in the tea sector have been resolved. I believe that the outcome of this conference tomorrow will highlight the very specific aspects that the tea sector in Kenya will be improved in order to make sure that we enhance not only the foreign earnings from tea, but also direct benefits to the farmers. I would encourage members who come from tea growing zones to participate in this conference and contribute towards ensuring that our farmers not only get support from the government, but also to have that personal commitment to ensure the sector is improved and supported. I thank you, and once again, I want to encourage Senator Cherargei to make sure that he fully engages the farmers so that it is not going to be a white-collar engagement, but a farmer-based kind of an engagement from the ground. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Just in 2 minutes, you can be able to make that comment, Clerk. Kindly 2 minutes. Mombasa County is the highest beneficiary of tea that are produced in other counties. So, Senator Mohamed Faki,
Asante
what do
Mheshimiwa
you have to
Spika.
say on tea?
Asante Mheshimiwa Spika kwa kunipa fursa hii kuchangia taarifa ya kusherehekea siku ya chai iliyoletwa bungeni na Senator Cherargei. Mheshimiwa Spika, Mombasa ndio soko kubwa kabisa ulimwenguni la chai, na ni faraja kubwa kwa watu wa Mombasa kwamba kwa miaka sasa wameweza kuwa ndio wenyeji wa soko la chai ulimwenguni. Mheshimiwa Spika, sio chai ya Kenya peke yake ambayo inauzwa katika soko la Mombasa. Kuna chai ya kutoka Burundi, kuna chai ya kutoka Rwanda, kuna chai ya kutoka Tanzania, kuna chai ya kutoka sehemu nyingi ambao Mheshimiwa Spika hutumika. Chai zile hutumika kufanya mchanganyiko na chai ya Kenya, ndio ikawa chai ya Kenya imekuwa bora zaidi na pia kuboresha zile chai nyingine ambazo zinauzwa ulimwenguni. Mheshimiwa Spika, jambo la kusikitisha ni kwamba hivi karibuni kumekuwa na hujuma ya soko lile la chai katika kaunti ya Mombasa. Na hujuma hizi Mheshimiwa Spika zimechangia mataifa mengine kuweza kufungua masoko yao ya chai. Kwa mfano Tanzania wameweza kufungua mnada wao wa chai hivi sasa, na chai yao haiji tena Kenya kwa sababu ya masuala kama haya ambayo nayazungumzia. Kwa Mheshimiwa Spika, tunapoangalia kusaidia kuinua chai, lazima tuangalie pande zote mbili. Chai bila ya soko, Mheshimiwa Spika, haitaweza kumsaidia mkulima. Lazima chai ile ipate soko ambalo ni la kisawasawa, ambalo litaweza kumsaidia mkulima na yule ambaye anauza chai ile. Mheshimiwa Spika, hapa katikati kuna shirika la KTDA, Mheshimiwa Spika. Juzi tulikuwa na mkutano na katika kamati ya leba ambapo kampuni moja ama shirika moja la chai ambalo linaajiri wafanyaji kazi, Mheshimiwa Spika, limekataa kulipa mfanyaji kazi kwa muda wa miaka 3 sasa, Mheshimiwa Spika. Na walipoitwa watu wa KTDA walikuwa wanasema kwamba mfanyaji kazi huo si mfanyaji kazi wetu. Tayari kampuni ile factory ya chai ambayo inahudumu kule wamesema huyu ni mtu wetu. Kwa hiyo Mheshimiwa Spika, katikati hapa mashirika kama KTDA, Mheshimiwa Spika, ndio mara nyingi yanaweza kuhujumu zile juhudi za mkulima. Lakini Mheshimiwa Spika, pale katika soko la chai la Mombasa, wengi Mheshimiwa Spika pale wanatumia wakati wao kufanya utafiti wa kuweza kuona kwamba chai ile ambayo inakuja inaboreshwa. Kwa mfano Mheshimiwa Spika, hata hapa bungeni wiki iliyokwisha niliweza kuonyesha baadhi ya maseneta watumie chai ya hibiscus, ambayo hiyo pia ni moja katika zile chai ambazo zimebuniwa. Kwa hivyo siku hizi sio chai peke yake, lakini chai imeweza kulelewa kiasi ambacho utapata ladha tofauti tofauti za chai ambazo zinauzwa, na hii inachangia pakubwa kuipa Kenya fedha za kigeni. Kwa hivyo Mheshimiwa Spika, tunaposherehekea chai hii Mheshimiwa Spika, ni kwamba lazima pia tutambue mchango unaofanywa na shirika la East African Tea Traders kule Mombasa pamoja na soko la chai ya Mombasa, kwa sababu pale ndio wale ambao wanauza chai, wananunua chai, wanakutana na wale wanauza chai ili kuhakikisha kwamba soko la chai Mheshimiwa Spika linaendelea kupanuka. Asante Mheshimiwa Spika kwa kunipa fursa hii.
Hapa namuona Deputy Speaker Emeritus Professor Mangri Kamal.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me the opportunity to say a few words in the celebration of tea. Tea, Mr. Speaker, has not only been the money maker for this country, but it's been a beverage that every Kenyan loves. We know we have our own way of making tea, and even when you are out of this country, people talk of the Kenyan tea and the way Kenyans mix their tea. And so this is something that is worth celebrating. And even as we celebrate, Mr. Speaker, we know that there are areas in this country where there are no cash crops, and we want to encourage that cash crops can spread. And tea is one of those which grows in most corners of this country. In fact, Mr. Speaker, I was in Embu the other day, and I have shared this with Senator Mundik, that I went and discovered something I didn't know. A plant that looks like tea, but is called mogoga. Mr. Speaker, my discovery of mogoga was very interesting because as we were driving, we met a lot of vehicles that were running in supersonic speed. And I said, what is it that these people are rushing? Then they said, it's something called mogoga. So I asked to be taken to a farm to see this plant. When I saw the plant, it looked like a very healthy tea crop. And I'm saying this.
Senator Tabitha Mutinda, what do you think you can inform a professor who has a lot of knowledge?
I don't love
because she must accept first that she needs your information.
Thank you. I'm also following the roots of becoming one. But you know, from where we come from, me and you, from the great county of Meru, it's also good that Professor notes that we also have tea in Meru County. So not only she saw Mogoka, but we also have tea.
No, she saw Mogoka in Embu, not in Meru. She mentioned in Embu.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I thank her for that information because I don't know why she read my mind, that I wanted a replacement of Mogoka with tea, not only in Embu, but also in Meru. Because when I saw this plant in the farm that I went to, it was a very healthy bush. I told them this is tea. They said, no, it's not tea. But I asked the lady, the owner of the small acre that she had, she said the only problem is that my son has also become an addict to this one. So I said, what is it? He said, yes, we have been planting it, but he has become an addict and is causing problems. Tea does not cause any problems. Mr. Speaker, it is the best drink. So I want to encourage that where we can plant it, if we can replace these other plants that seem to be addictive to our youth and seem to be messing our youth, let's spread out. And in fact, when I came, I reported the same to my colleague senator from Embu, and I said, there's a plant that looks like tea. Why don't we go for tea? And I really would like to encourage him that as we celebrate this, he actually goes down to the ground and encourages people, because where that plant grows, I think we can have the best variety of tea, the best, because that plant is so healthy, except for that idea that it's very addictive, and our youth seems to be derailed because of that. Mr. Speaker, I thank you. I can see my colleague wants to respond. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Professor Kamal, you know, now you have mentioned Mundigi 5 times. And you must didn't get 2 minutes to say something.
Asante Bwana Spika, naunga mkono siku ya kesho ya kulima wa majani, na katika Embu County tuko na 4 sub county, Manyata na Runyenje huwa napanda majani. Na mambo ya ajabu, miaka mingi wamekuwa wakipanda, na hiyo wakati tulisaliwa tulikuta watoto wakifunzwa na hiyo pesa ya manjani, lakini wakati huu ni aibu kubwa sana, kwa sababu unakuta kilimo ya manjani inaendelea kusoroteka na unakuta ile bei inaendelea kuwa chini. Lakini naunga mkono siku ya kesho, wakiendelea pia wataongea vile kilimo ya manjani itaweza kushukuru njia ile inafaa, ndio bei iweze kusaidia wakulima wa manjani. Kama kuna mtu anaumia ni mtu wa kilimo ya manjani, kwa sababu anaamuka saa 11 wakati mvua inanyesha, na pia ni watoto, ni watu wazima, na pia wazee na akina mama. Na wakati ule mwingine wakienda kuuza, unakuta mpaka hiyo kila siku mpaka hiyo vitu iweze kutolewa na iende iuzwe, na unakuta kuanga hasira nyingi sana. Kwa hiyo naunga hiyo mkono, na pia bei iweze kuangaliwa. Na pia ukienda parapara ile magari inapitia inakuwa na shinda mambo ya CDF, na pia ya county na national government, hiyo maparapara inafaa iangaliwe. Pia Bwana Speaker, nataka nikosoe Senator Kamaro Professor kwa kutanja mambo ya mogoka ama miraa katika Mount Kenya. Kanidhi, hiyo ni kilimo yetu. Unakuta wakati wa zamani watu wa chini ilikuwa ni maskini, lakini leo tunataka iwe variation, tuweze kutengeneza kama ni juice na chewing gum na zile vitu zingine. Kwa hivyo ningeomba senator, wakati tutalete hiyo mbilo hapa, ningeomba vile nimekuwa nikisaidia nyinyi na kusupport mbilo zenu, hiyo mbilo ambaye wakati itakunja, ningeomba munisaidie iwe maseneta 27 ama mara 30. Kwa hiyo Bwana Speaker, nataka nikosoe Professor Kamal, hiyo ni vitu ambaye ilikuwako hata wakati wa zamani. Kwa hivyo Bwana Speaker, naunga mkono ndio tuweze kusaidika. Asante. Ni mimi Deputy Party Leader Alexander Munyimondigi.
Senator Faki, hoja ya nidhamu ni juu ya nini?
Ni juu ya, ningetaka kuuliza kama ni haki kwa Senator Mundigi kusimama ndani ya bunge hili kutia sherehe kwa mmea ambao kulingana na Narcotics Act ni dawa ya kulevya, inahusiana na dawa ya kulevya, Mheshimiwa Spika. Na hata hapa bungeni Mheshimiwa,
what is your point of order?
Anapotosha taifa kwamba ni mmea ambao unafaa watu, Mheshimiwa Spika, kwa sababu mihadharati ni jambo ambalo limepigwa marufuku na Narcotics Act. Kwa Mheshimiwa Spika, hii mugoka
Senator Faki, ningependa kukujulisha ya kwamba hiyo mmea onda Senator Mundigi. Have you said?
Thank you, Mheshimiwa Speaker.
Nilikuwa na kueleza ya kwamba huo mmea unatoka Mbere huko Embu County. Ni mmea ambao umehalalishwa na serikali ya Kenya katika Crop Act 2013 ulihalalishwa. Kwa hivyo labda ulete sheria ingine ya kuitoa kama kilimo, kama mmea maalum wa taifa la Kenya, basi ndio utakuwa kweli No. You, both of you out of order. Please. You executed your point of order, Senator Mohamed Faki. So, sababu unajua wewe nimekuwa na wewe weekend mzima, na kwa hivyo sipendi kuhujumu ama iwe ya kwamba sikupi ruhusa kuongea, lakini naomba tafadhali tupige hatua kwa sasa. Atandi is about tea, not Mogoka, not Pyredrum, not Coffee Tea, International Tea Day. So whoever is Senator Tabitha? Yes. On tea? Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir, for giving me this opportunity. And I also want to join the world as they celebrate the Tea Day tomorrow. I know Nakuru County people are farmers of tea, and I think as one of the senators have said, I think it's to ensure the farmers are taken care of so that they can all benefit. Because if you look at the tea internationally, it's one of the crop that is regarded very highly. But when you see the people who plant that tea and pluck the tea, they don't match to the standard that is given globally. And for me, the tea, I don't imagine how the world would be without tea, because that is the cup that you wake up in the morning to wake you up so that you are able to move to take your day. Then from there, I want to ensure, the people to know that tea is medicine, and we should all celebrate tea and have many cups as possible, but not replace with the wine that we want for our food, the beer that we want for, like the way Cherangei is trying to say. The thirst of the beer, the thirst of our wine, when we take our meals, it is different from the tea. So don't mix the issues. Just market your tea and ensure the tea, people understand it's medicine, and they can take as many cups as possible before the evening or before the end of the day. You can have more than 10 cups of tea. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir.
Senator Sifuna.
Mr. Speaker, first of all, I'm aware that the entire government is in the US. So I was looking across the aisle and seeing some of the most vociferous defenders of this government. I thought they would be on this trip, but they are here celebrating International Tea Day with us. This should be a clear lesson that shouting hoes from the other side will not endear you to the presidency, Mr. Speaker. Number two, I'm a bit confused, Mr. Speaker, on this International Tea Day. Should it be...
point of order, Senator Chalgei?
So, Speaker, you cannot allow Senator Sifuna to be cantankerous. Mr. Speaker, under Section 105, Parliament and Senate Mwaso is an independent arm of government. The trip, Mr. Speaker, is undertaken by the National Executive. Is it in order to try and cast aspersions by indicating that any trip that is taken outside Parliament or outside by the executive should be taken with parliamentarians? Yet we have our own budget and we are independent arm of government. Is he making it in good faith, Mr. Speaker? Or is jealousy that he was left out of the trip? Can he be clear?
Senate.
Honorable Speaker, I want members of this House to reflect on their own standing. When you are only invited to trips to the goat auction in Mogosho, but others are taken to the US, you should reflect on your standing within your own party. Mr. Speaker, the second point I wanted clarity on is whether in celebrating this International Tea Day, we are celebrating the growers or the drinkers. Because if it is the drinkers of tea, that debate should be properly anchored by Senator Osotsi from Vihiga and myself as the leading Luya leaders in this House, who are known to be the highest consumers of this product. I don't know what Cherargei knows about tea more than Senator Osotsi, because Osotsi both grows the tea and drinks tea heavily, Honorable Speaker. So my concern really is that clarity. Maybe the maker of that statement can tell us, are we celebrating the drinkers or the growers? Thirdly, Honorable Speaker, I was a bit surprised hearing the head of state speak the other day, and he said that he is not aware of any Kenyan tea brand. I have grown up drinking Ketepa, knowing this is Kenyan tea. I would like some clarity on these matters from the maker of this statement, Honorable Speaker. Does Kenya have a Kenyan brand of tea? What is this I've been drinking? Is Ketepa from Sri Lanka? Honorable Speaker, finally, I want to encourage the leadership of the areas, Nandi and even Bomet, where this tea is grown, to also reflect on the resolution of the disputes that we have seen, especially regarding foreign companies that have been holding land in those areas and have been growing tea all these years. At the beginning of this term of parliament, there were very serious incidents in Bomet and in Nandi, where even people lost their lives and machinery was destroyed, property of immense value was destroyed. Honorable Speaker, we never hear from Cherargei how that matter was resolved. In fact, the protests there were more violent, and we didn't see the sort of police action being taken on people in Nandi and people in Bomet who are burning property and destroying property owned by these companies, Honorable Speaker. So as we celebrate this International Tea Day, please let us reflect on all these matters so that we as a country can protect this very key source of foreign exchange and this industry that employs thousands of Kenyans. I thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Senator Wamatinga Wahome.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. I also like to make a comment on this statement. Indeed, Mr. Speaker, sir, I come from a tea growing region, and we produce some of the best quality tea in Kenya. Mr. Speaker, sir, the problem that we've been facing as farmers across board is that we've never taken a firm position on how we can empower our farmers, be it tea, be it coffee, be it avocado, be it macadamia. Indeed, tomorrow, as we reflect on tea consumers and tea growers, we must ask ourselves, what is it that we've done for the tea farmers? Mr. Speaker, sir, I'm happy to report that for the first time, before this House, in the Agricultural Committee, we dealt with the tea bill and improved on it to ensure that we empower the farmers, and we by involving the county government, and more important, Mr. Speaker, sir, creating mechanisms where farmers can seek and access markets directly internationally. But as we do that, Mr. Speaker, it is also important to ask ourselves whether we've been doing enough to ensure that value addition in our produce, be it tea, be it coffee, be it macadamia, be it avocado, whether it does with a bit of attention and the diversity of knowledge in this House, we can be able to unleash our farmers by ensuring that the value chain that will unleash the farmers gets down there. As we also do that, it is important also to report that for the first time, we have a government in place that is and has come with a lot of political goodwill to ensure that the farmers of this country do not only get their rightful dues, but they do access and they are represented in the markets, in the boards that have been formed, and their voice is heard. Mr. Speaker, sir, for a long time, farmers have been left in the peripheral. Decisions have been made in Nairobi, they've been implemented down there. But now, with the transformative bottom-up economic approach, now farmers are participatory and in a collaborative manner being engaged so that they become decision makers for the decisions that will influence them. Additionally, Mr. Speaker, sir, we've seen the Kenya Kwanza government strengthen the cooperative movement through its leadership, and that will ensure that farmers are able to live from their collective bargain by ensuring that they pull together their resources so that they can make better bargains and also achieve economies of scale. Finally, Mr. Speaker, sir, we've also seen that the government has endeavored to bring affordable fertilizer, subsidized fertilizer, though there are some people who have tried to abuse the mechanism. It has indeed improved the yield, and that is evidently clear. We can see that from the previous harvests, we have better yield, better quality, and most importantly, the farmers have been able to increase their income. And with that, Mr. Speaker, sir, I support. Thank you.
Senator Buru Oginga.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker,